Hello YouTubers, welcome to the Crackn Meet up in Lincolnshire in the Midlands. I thought I'd take this opportunity to talk about group riding in a group. First of all, I'll talk about things to make sure that you've got with you when you're riding in a group. So first of all, you want a bike, a helmet, whatever gear you want to be wearing. Next, of course, you want to make sure that you've got some money with you, because you're probably going to need to buy petrol, you're probably going to stop at a cafe somewhere for something to eat or whatever. So a bit of money with you is all important. Next, you're going to want to make sure that you've got a phone with you, because you've not been looking after your bike and it's going to break down, and so you're going to have to call your breakdown recovery. And then of course you want some breakdown recovery, because of course you've not been looking after your bike and it's going to break down all the time. Next, you might want a camera to preserve the trip. A video camera stuck to your helmet or your bike is probably the best, because that's going to give you the best opportunity to see the countryside, and also to be able to record for posterity all the silly things that the other people that you're with do and embarrass them later on. Next, you want to take some kitchen roll or toilet roll, but kitchen roll is a little bit better. And this is because although when you're walking along the air seems fairly empty, it's actually full of bugs. Now most of them are little tiny midges, and you'll just end up with lots of tiny little bodies stuck all over you. But every so often you end up coming across a really large bug, and this is because helmets, there's a little known fact that they're actually made out of a material that's especially attractive to bugs. And what happens is that they come along and you end up with a huge splat all over your visor. You end up with a horrible green and yellow mess. Over your visor. Now in that situation, one of the things you must not do is be tempted to wipe it off, because that's just going to smear the critter around and you'll end up with bug guts all over your visor, and you'll be able to see even less than you did before. So you have to wait until the group stops somewhere, which inevitably they will. But don't be tempted to wipe the bugs off straight away, because one of the first things you do in a group when you stop together is you check out each other's helmet and discuss all the bug splats, who's got the biggest ones, the most gross innards splattered all over the helmet. And much hilarity is had talking about this and shoving your visor into other people's faces. Another thing that's worth taking along is earplugs. Now, a lot of people say that they use earplugs in order to deal with wind noise, which apparently can damage your ears. But mostly it's so that you don't have to listen to all the other riders talking about all of their bug splatters. Next is a little bit of preparation for the trip. Now, a lot of people will talk about making sure that you've got oil in your bike and your chain is okay and so on. The problem with that is that you're going to go along on the morning of the ride and check your oil and discover that there's no oil there because you've not been looking after your bike. And then you're not really going to want to go riding in it because you also haven't got any spare oil to put into it, and you're going to end up just sitting at home. So instead, don't bother checking the oil and just get straight onto the bike and off to the journey, and you'll have a lovely day riding around with everyone, and it'll end up very humorously stuck in the middle of nowhere waiting for your emergency services to pick you up after your engine blows up on you. Another thing when you're going out and meeting friends and so on is that you probably remember your mother telling you always make sure you wear a clean pair of underpants. Don't worry about this. Bikers are a hardy bunch, and it's quite alright to keep those undies on that you've been wearing for the last 3 or 4 days. Nobody's going to mind at all. Instead of spending all of that time worrying about your undies and your oil and so on, instead, the most important thing that you need to do at this point to prepare for the trip is find out where it is. This is because although the United Kingdom is not a particularly large country, if you just head out there randomly riding around trying to find everybody, it's going to take you quite a long time. So it's best to make sure in advance that you know where everybody's going to be. For the moment, I'm just going to enjoy this ride for a little while, and later on I'm going to talk a bit more about the actualities of riding in a group whilst you're actually on the road.